Good morning. Welcome back. If you joined us yesterday or Monday, then you know that you are in for a fun-filled, knowledge-packed, fast-paced presentation where we are going to try to answer all of your questions and give you more knowledge about what Epic has to offer for you and your students. So we're going to give people a few seconds, minutes to get in here. I just want to welcome all of you right now to our virtual expo and let you know that this is being recorded. If you missed our Monday or Tuesday presentation, those are being edited right now and will be on our website, and also we will share them to social media. So there will be lots of places for you to find those. Lots of great information being shared. I'm going to start off by telling you my name is Shannon George. I will be your host today, and we have friends backstage with the Family Engagement Department that are going to be answering your questions. Lauren Williams and Bree Davison will be on here to help you as you drop those questions in the question and answer box at the bottom. They will be asking at the end, the presenter, the questions that you have. So welcome. Okay, so I want you to find that question and answer tab at the bottom of your screen right now and just share with me. This is Wednesday morning. We've made it halfway through the week. What's in your cup? Mine is some nice coffee. I like mine black. No sugar, no cream, unless I need just a special day and I want to run through Starbucks and get all the fluff. But on a daily basis, I'm just going to enjoy this nice black cup of coffee. So what are you using to get your morning started? Is it lemon water, a nice cup of tea, a Diet Coke? What is it? Let us know just to try out that chat feature, that question and answer feature at the bottom. Okay, so welcome. Thank you for joining us. We have lots of opportunities and lots of programs. I've been with Epic as a parent and also as an employee for 6 years now, and I can tell you I continually learn. When you have a school that has almost 30,000 students and 1,500 employees plus, there is a lot to know. And so I am so glad if you're new to Epic, if you're a veteran to Epic, that you are here to learn what we have to offer you this year. This is our schedule. Again, if you were not here Monday or Tuesday, those are the things that we covered that you'll want to go back and watch those, share those with your friends. If you have a friend that's kind of thinking, hey, maybe I'm going to give school a try for my student this year, but we may want to do Epic. What does Epic have to offer? Or maybe we want to do Epic right now. And they're just curious, like, is it just going to be me at home with my kid every day doing school? I'm not really a teacher and I don't know how to do that. Are there resources? Sharing the Monday and the Tuesday link of everything that we offer. And then today we're going to talk about the curriculum, the supplements, the world and native languages, and talk about our college and career readiness. These are great videos for them to go and watch and learn, and also for you. So those Epic student clubs, a lot of times we're like, what does Epic offer? Well, those clubs have changed this year. So we have some new ones, some have left, but we have some great ones that I would love for you to go back and watch that presentation to see what's available. So getting started, we are going to, like I said, have this posted to the Epic website at a later time. Just want to let you know that a lot of people that have been on the Monday and Tuesday Expo have asked, like, when's this coming out? There's an editing process. So as soon as that happens, and we're doing it as quickly as we can, it will be posted. So keep an eye out. Translation services. If you are in need of translation services, you're going to use a personal device. You can listen to that. There are also going to be on-screen captions in multiple languages. So I'm going to give you a second to look at these directions if you need to have this in another language. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to need to download the app. So you'll go to the App Store or the Google Play Store. You'll search Microsoft Translator. You'll install that. Then you'll open the app. You're going to need to allow the permissions. Then you're going to join a conversation. You'll select Join a Conversation. And then it's going to ask you for a code. This is the code that you need. When you get this opened on your phone, you have to type in for today, CXQGP. and then you can pick your preferred language. So it's recommended that you use earbuds to listen to this so that you're not hearing my voice in English and then that in a different language. And so that way you can hear your language of choice, your heart language. So I am going to play this special video for you from our friend Jackie. It is not letting me play it there. Hang on just a second. I'm going to reshare this and click on it from there. Okay. We will listen to Miss Jackie give you some instructions.
Bienvenidos a la exposición virtual de regreso a clases de Epic Charter School. Si desea escuchar o leer esta presentación en español, puede hacerlo usando un dispositivo personal como su teléfono o tableta. Le recomendamos utilizar audífonos para una mejor experiencia. Para obtener la traducción en tiempo real, utilice la aplicación Microsoft Translator. En iPhone o dispositivos iOS, abra la App Store. En Android, abra Google Play Store. Busque Microsoft Translator, identifique el logotipo de Microsoft y seleccione Instalar o Obtener. Una vez instalada, abra la aplicación y permita los accesos necesarios como micrófono y cámara. Para unirse a la traducción, abra Microsoft Translator, seleccione la opción Conversación, icono de chat, pulse Unirse a una conversación, ingrese el código de conversación o escanee el código QR que aparece en pantalla durante esta exposición. Seleccione Español como su idioma y presione Enter. Listo. Ahora puede escuchar y leer la traducción en vivo. Recuerde mantener sus audífonos conectados. Gracias.
Okay, so I'm going to put that code up there one more time and let you screenshot that or let you take a picture with your phone because this is the code that you're going to want to type in once you get that pulled up. I love that Epic is so accommodating to students and parents and families with a second language, with a heart language, and that we meet you where you are. And so we're just giving those friends a minute to get that pulled up so they can hear all the great information we have to share today. Okay, if you're hard of hearing or deaf, then we would like you to click on the closed caption tab at the bottom, and your subtitles will be written down at the bottom. Additional tips, here we go. Okay, this is a big one. You'll hear me say this a couple times today as new people enter. Because of bandwidth and internet issues, we're going to ask you to keep your videos off, and I'm going to turn mine off as presenters are presenting just to preserve that bandwidth because sometimes with internet issues, we have the lagging and so it just helps if you stay muted. However, we want to hear from you. So I really need to hear from you. So we're going to try this out again. Go to that question answer tab at the bottom of the screen, and I want you to type in, how are you joining today? Are you joining as a parent? Are you joining as a student? Are you joining as an Epic employee? Let us know who's here. And if you're joining as an Epic student, if you want to put your grade out there, that may help us when we're tailoring some questions specifically to you. I know we had some students yesterday ask questions about, they got really excited about the horse riding and they were looking for a vendor that did horse riding. So it's just helpful to know who's live. Now, if you're joining us from the recording of this show, please screenshot these emails and email the presenters directly. You can take the name of any presenter, put a dot between their first name and their last name, and add that at epiccharterschools.org and get to them by email and ask those specific questions. So I don't want you to think that if you're watching this as a recording that your question isn't important, because we want to answer those. And so you have an avenue to reach out to those people as well. Okay, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to introduce Miss Betsy, and Miss Betsy is here to tell us about all things Epic Ed for all grades. That's our school curriculum. So I'm going to stop sharing this and let her share. Miss Betsy, welcome. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you. I am so glad to be here to talk about Epic Ed. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am, I can. It looks great.
Awesome, awesome. All right, we have some great new changes for 25-26, and I'm excited to be here to talk about them. My name is Betsy Richards. I am the lead over all the curriculum and content coaches here, and we work very closely with the instructional designers. All right, we're going to go over curriculum overview today, considerations, talk about the courses, and just look at a couple things that are important to be able to view in the courses. And then I'll talk about Read and Write, the family guide, and why Epic Ed is so awesome. All right, Epic Ed is now pre-K through 12th grade. We started that last year. And it is designed to meet 100% of the Oklahoma academic standards. And it is the only curriculum that we have that is 100% aligned to Oklahoma academic standards. It is also NCAA approved, so that is very important to know because it is rigorous enough to be approved by the NCAA. So all right. We also have built more high school electives for this year. It is free. It is computer recommended for the laptop, Chromebook, desktop, and iPads. And iPads work as we got all that figured out last year. So if your student, your little has an iPad, it should work just fine. And we are in a web-based platform and students log in through Clever. So we have all courses, pre-K through 8th grade, ELA, math, social studies, and science. 2nd and 5th graders have the opportunity to take a computer science class if they would like. And then 8th graders can take a high school web design course for high school credit. Here are all the courses that high schoolers have. And then we have electives, and right here, new for 2025, you see that we have quite a few more electives, and we also have credit recovery courses in Epic Ed now. All right, so the courses are different for pre-K through 8th grade and for high school. Pre-K through 8th courses, you have to think you're going to do a topic a week. 5 lessons. So lesson 1's on Monday, lesson 2 is on Tuesday, lesson 3 is on Wednesday, and so on and so forth. If there is a day off, there will not be a lesson. So we have holidays blacked out. High school courses are done in modules. So they flow more like a high school course should be, with learns and quizzes, etc. All right. When your student logs into their Epic Ed, they're going to see a course card over here. They're either going to press this for activities or this for their grade. They're going to be able to see their progress and what their score is. The to-do list does not work for pre-K through 8th graders. Please do not have your student, if you have a pre-K through 8th grader, do not have them look at this to-do list. You'll need to use a pacing guide that your teacher will provide you because you will not get all of the lesson if you use this. And then the student will get behind and it'll be frustrating. So I've already said this, but I want to say it one more time. Pre-K through 8th grade, do not use the to-do list. High school courses work well with the to-do list. All right, this is the topic landing page. So when you go into a course and click on the topic, it's going to give everything you need for that topic. It's going to give you essential questions and I can statements so you know what you're doing for that topic. It'll give all the printables and it'll give the supplies needed. So the printables would be the workbook pages, and workbooks can be purchased in the Learning Fund. Your teacher can do that, and they are between $5 and $13, very inexpensive. And since they're coming through Amazon, they will get to your house within 2 or 3 days. All right, there's a couple of screens that I really want you to pay attention to watch for your student. This is your student's grade book. And when you go in, it's going to be the grade page, and that's going to show what they've done and what their score is. The activity page is important to watch because it will show the time that your student has spent in their course. If they're not doing very well, please go look at this in their course so you can see if they are really spending the time they need in a lesson. Up here tells how much total time is in the course. So that is, again, go to your student's grade page and click over to activity. All right, another great screen to watch is the what if screen, and it is in the grade book. Your teacher can see exactly what the student can see in this. This is a great screen to really be able to tell what the real grade is if your student has gotten behind. So if they've gotten behind, you can go in and put zeros in to show your child what their actual score would be. So you would put the zeros in if they're behind, recalculate, and they can see why they need to catch up. So that's a great screen also to watch. Over here is the objective mastery. So you can see as they learn the standards, the objective mastery bar will go towards 100%. All right, I wanted to show you the Read and Write Chrome extension. Every student has this on their computer, and it is really great for anybody that needs any accommodations. But you really need to go in and play with the Read and Write extension so you know how to use it. The icon looks like this, and it is automatically on the student's computer if they have an Epic computer, and it would just go in and play with it. If you don't see that extension, you might need to go into your extensions and just pin that extension on your toolbar so that it's just right up there at the top. So this is a really, really great extension to use. All right, I wanted to share the family guide, and I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat right now. Let's see if I can see the chat. The family guide has lots of video tutorials and step-by-step guides to really make the curriculum easy to flow. So if you have any questions or you're having trouble, go ahead and you should be able to find any of your answers in the Epic Ed Family Guide. And of course, always ask your teacher, and they can reach out to me if you're having any trouble with the program. So again, Epic Ed is the only core curriculum that is 100% aligned to the Oklahoma academic standards. It's free, and the workbooks are available for purchase through the Learning Fund. New enhancements for the 25-26 course include glossaries have been added to all the workbooks across all subjects. We do have a new cursive curriculum. We really listen to parent and teacher feedback and enhance our courses. And we heard that cursive was tough for the kids, so we went to the Xander Blosser cursive curriculum. Pre-K through second grade have done more brain breaks, especially important for those younger grades. And please have your student doing those brain breaks because it really helps them focus on their curriculum. For our science courses, we have expanded lab choice boards for students. So in high school. If they don't want to do a wet lab, there's going to be a dry lab option. Third and fourth grade designers have really worked on more gamified practice for students. And there are many brand new courses, and we're making them more every year. One thing I do want to note is if you see any issues with the course, maybe a word has been spelled wrong, our designers can go in and fix that, and it'll be fixed in real time. That's a nice thing about our platform. So we can make changes as they come up, because we are all human and there might be an error or two. We really try our hardest to make the course absolutely perfect. And that is it for me. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing.
It looks like
Betsy,
got a lot of.
we
Oh, sorry, Shannon.
no, that's okay. Miss Betsy, you did a great job. Thank you so much. I personally have a daughter that is using Epic Ed, and I love, coming from the teacher background of being a teacher for 25 years, that it is a curriculum that lines to 100% of Oklahoma standards. It was literally designed and created from the bottom up with Oklahoma in mind. As a teacher, so many curriculum companies would come in and say, well, we try to do our best to align it to Oklahoma standards, but we also sell this to Texas and Colorado and California. And so it's like, oh, can we just find one that's just Oklahoma and take the guesswork out? So I love that we have that. And I love that it is super stamped and approved with all the seals of approval from the bigwigs. So Lauren has lots of questions for you, Betsy.
Okay.
Yes, yes. And Betsy, we've got 3 minutes, so I'm gonna hustle through them, okay?
Okay.
So the first question is, when will Clever become available?
Clever will become available the first day of school.
Perfect. Where do you get your workbook?
The workbooks, the teachers can order them through the Learning Fund, through Amazon. So they do need to be ordered through the Learning Fund. So let your teacher know if you want a workbook. And I suggest they're so affordable, and they have guided notes in them. So you can see as your student is doing their lesson that they're following through with the workbook and writing down the examples. Writing is so important, and we need to get kids back in doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Do we have a list that was, sorry, our to-do list was not up to date last year. Will that be changed this year?
To-do list does not work for pre-K through 8th grade. It will not work at all this year. High school courses will work, but do not look at the to-do list if you have a student pre-K through 8th grade. It will not give the entire curriculum. They will be missing their entire lesson.
That's good to know. Good to know. If they are not getting an Epic laptop, do they need that read and write extension? And
You
how do
need
they get it?
the teacher will be able to let tech know to get the extension to them.
Great. So
Yes.
again, we're
And
going to
it's a free extension, so they can actually just go to the App Store and add it also.
Great, great. And then where do we take errors? If they find something in the curriculum that they feel like needs to be corrected, is there a place that they go to for that?
There is a Google form that the designers share out. I know we added it to the Facebook page last year, and I'm sure it will be added to the Facebook page again. But there is an Epic Ed Errors Google form.
Perfect. And then this one is again about work.
All classes do have workbooks. High school courses included, and they're great because the guided notes are awesome. I would suggest you get those. And the teacher needs to order the workbook. So just reach out to your teacher and ask them to order them. They can order them through your Learning Fund.
Perfect. Okay, Betsy, if you want to stay on for a few minutes and type answers to these questions, I know that we do have to move on. I'm going to turn it over to Shannon, but if you could stay on with that Q&A for a little bit longer, we'd appreciate it.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Betsy, great job and great answers, and our families are still wanting more. So if you will enter backstage and answer this, that'll be great. I'll introduce Miss Tracy. Hi, Miss Tracy.
Good morning.
Yay! Okay, so Miss Tracy is here to tell us about My Math Academy and My Reading Academy. Some of our families may have not have heard of those two supplements or curriculums. So can you tell us all about that?
Absolutely. Again, my name is Tracy Ray, and I am here to tell you about my Math Academy, my Reading Academy. Okay, so my Math Academy and my Reading Academy, they are available in the Learning Fund. The program is for grades pre-K through second grade. Students will log in through Clever. This program is aligned with the Oklahoma academic standards. And again, this is a supplement. This is not a core. The recommendation for EPIC usage is 45 minutes weekly in each program. Okay, so that would mean that the students will work 15 minutes about 3 times a week in each program in my math and my reading academy. Okay. My Math Academy and my Reading Academy, if you've ever heard of ABC Mouse, the creators of ABC Mouse, they're the creators of my Math and my Reading Academy. Okay. Both of the programs offer adaptive game-based mastery lessons. Students will have a personalized learning path for mastery, and we'll talk more about the learning path as well. The dashboard will show real-time action that the student is doing. So you as a parent will be informed using the dashboard. We will talk about that as well. And then you will have access to a family portal where you can keep up with the data and what your student is doing, how they're doing progressing through the different activities that they're engaged in. So this is a unique, I guess you would say a unique way of showing how the students actually are learning. So if you see here, we have some beautiful faces, right? So each student is different. Everyone does not learn the same, right? And so you have the different little squares, and the squares represent the different objectives that the students will be learning, okay? Every student does not learn the same, right? Every student is not working on the same thing when the lessons are individualized, okay? So the lines are making connections to the possible trajectory that the students will be on throughout the school year, okay? So the program is designed to help students individually meet their successful goals. So let's talk about my Math Academy for a second. So my Math Academy, it works on the foundational skills of counting forward and backwards, cardinality, one-to-one correspondence, skip counting, comparing quantities. So those foundational skills with math, right? And then the program uses animations and games. What student does not like animations and games, right? We know that students are on technology and play games a lot, but with this program, students are actually learning, okay, while they're interacting with the program. Right here, you can see the little Shapies. Shapies are the characters throughout my Math Academy program, and they help the students to be engaged in their learning as well. And again, once again, the program is a customized learning path for the students' individual needs. All right. And so when the students are interacting with my Math Academy, they have digital manipulatives, counter-based blocks, for example, base 10 blocks, 10 frames, all of those manipulatives to help them get a better understanding of the work that they're actually doing within the program, okay? And then they also use familiar vocabulary when teaching the skills to students.
Tracy, you're doing a great job. We're having a little trouble seeing your screen. Can you make sure that you're presenting it full screen?
Okay, let me see. Let me go back. Let me stop sharing for a minute.
Okay.
My apologies.
No, no worries. I just want to make sure everyone can see everything. And it's hard when you're the presenter and you can't really see what everyone else is seeing.
Is that better?
Let's see. It hasn't popped up yet. Yes, that's better. Thank
Much
you.
better. Okay, I
Yes, thank you.
apologize. I apologize.
Great
So
job. Great
again,
job.
you can see the My Math Academy. Okay, these are
Yep.
examples of what students will actually see when they're in game mode, in learning mode. So here you can see the students are working with comparison with numbers, addition, adding to scenarios, types of triangles, equality and inequality. So it's very, very fun and engaging. So that's the main thing. So let's talk about My Reading Academy. So with My Reading Academy, we're going to talk about the foundational skills of phonological awareness, phonemic awareness, phonics, and sight words. Okay. We're also going to work on vocabulary, fluency, and comprehension. All right. And again, every student is on a unique pathway. Okay. The videos that the students are interacting with are very engaging, and the learning objectives will be modeled for the student. Because here it's Bitsy. With My Math Academy, we use the Shapies to interact with the program. Well, Bitsy will help students to interact with My Reading Academy. And then you can see some examples of what the games will look like for the students when they're interacting with the program. Okay. There's also a caregiver center. You know, there's a partnership. You have a partnership with the teacher, student, and parent. So there's a caregiver center where you can actually follow along and see what your student is doing with the program. And we will provide this for you all at the a later time that you will be able to actually create your own caregiver center account. If you have more than one student that is in the program, you can create one account for those multiple students. So they would receive an email code from their teacher, and then that redemption code will be provided to you, and then you enter that code so that you can set up your account for your student. And with that account, you'll be able to see your students' real-time progress at what they're doing in the program, okay? And then you also will have some extra enrichment activities that you can utilize at home to support your learner, okay? And that is My Reading and My Math Academy. Okay, well, I do want to show you a brochure that is for My Math Academy, and we will share this with you. Um, Actually, I can just go ahead and put it in the chat for you. Okay.
Thank you for doing that for us.
Yes.
That's very helpful.
Let's make it for everyone.
We're going to have Miss Lauren or Miss Bree, if there are any questions with My Math Academy or My Reading Academy, if you want to ask those questions that we have, if we haven't answered them.
Yeah, so one other question. We really only have one at this time, so if you have one, go ahead and drop it in the Q&A box. And I think that you may be able to answer this one pretty quickly, but the question is, do they have it where I live? But my understanding is this is a virtual program.
It is a
So,
virtual
yeah.
program, and you will order it through the Learning Fund. I do want to say that you have to order. It's when you order it, you will get both programs. Okay, My Math and My Reading. So you don't purchase them separately. It's together. Both of them are together.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Any more questions?
I want to clarify. So is this a supplemental?
This is a supplemental program. This is not a core. So this will be in addition to the student's core that they're utilizing. So this is like reinforcement for the students' needs of what they're needing help with. But again, when students are utilizing My Math and My Reading Academy, it's not like they're learning. Okay, students feel like they're playing a game, and I want to say that when students are consistently using the program, we have seen phenomenal growth with those students. So you have to be consistent and make sure that you're talking with your teacher about your progress.
Absolutely. It reminds me of being in the classroom and when you would teach a lesson and then you would go to the computer lab and you would let the students play a game based on that lesson, just kind of to
Absolutely.
reaffirm.
Absolutely. And another thing, you can use this program on iPads as well. A lot of students, again, we're reaching for 45 minutes a week. So students love to play and work on when I say play, we're learning actually, right? But they like to engage with the program in the car, using a tablet, their iPad. So it's a great program, and it's very helpful for raising the scores and the level of growth.
Yes. So we do have a question. It says, I see it's only pre-K through second. What if I have a student in fourth grade, but on a second grade level? Could we use it?
Unfortunately, it's just available for pre-K through second grade students this year. So my apologies for that.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Actually, I was wondering if it was okay for people born in the 70s because it looks fun. I want to play it.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
I was like, I want to try that. It looks cute. But I love that they've made it in a way that's engaging to students because sometimes learning big things like that is scary. And when you put it in a way that kids understand it and get it, then we meet them where they are. That's always a positive thing. Um,
Absolutely. And I do want to say one more thing. I'm sorry. The students will take a placement test the very first thing that they do. The placement test will not look like a test per se, but I'm asking that parents please do not assist the students when they're working because we want the students to be on their individual their skill level, right? We don't
but
want
you
them
want
to
to meet
be
them where they are.
above their level, right? It
Yes.
is an adaptive program. So if the student is like, if you're seeing games that are too advanced, the program will adapt, okay? And it will level out for that student.
Okay, that's really important because I know as parents, sometimes kids, they just want to get it all right. They want to make a
Right.
100 and explaining that to them before they take that and saying, hey, you're only in kindergarten and you may see some first grade questions that you don't
Yes,
know. And that is okay. This is not a test to make a 100 on. This is a test to just show me what you know. And if you don't know, click the enter button so that we can know that that program needs to teach you that skill. So, Tracy, thank you for
absolutely.
sharing that, letting parents know that we just let kids place where they need to place and that that's more
Absolutely.
helpful.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you have a second presentation. We have you back to back. So we have Tracy a little longer, and Tracy is now going to tell us, oh, let me go back and ask, did I miss it when you said it? Does that program, does that supplement cost parents?
Yes, it does. It is available in the Learning Fund. Again, it is $70.
Okay.
Okay, $70 for both programs, my math and my reading.
Well, if you divided that out, that sounds like an app that I pay for my daughter all the time anyway.
Right?
So,
Absolutely.
when you divide
Absolutely.
out that cost, it's not that great. Okay, let's talk about iReady.
Okay. Can you see my screen this time?
Let me see. It's coming. Yes, perfect.
All right. So now we're going to talk about iReady. Okay. So iReady is another K through 8 adaptive web-based program, and it is going to help students with reading and math. This program is also available in the Learning Fund for $20. All right. Students will log in through Clever. Okay, once Clever is ready to go on the first day of school. Okay. And this program, it does align with the Oklahoma State standards and Common Core. Okay, but we know that we're wanting to focus on Oklahoma State standards. The recommended time for usage in this program is 45 minutes as well. Okay, per subject, reading and math. Okay. And we're asking maybe that you break that up into like 15 to 20 minutes per subject 5 days a week. We want the students to be consistent. We know that if they're consistent, we will see results, okay? But they have to be consistently using the program. Okay, iReady. The students will begin with a diagnostic, excuse me, and the diagnostic, again, needs to be completed independently. Just with like my math and my reading, we want the student to be placed in the correct area of instruction, okay? The students will have a personalized learning path that provides just right lessons for that student's individual needs, okay? This program is very engaging with interactive lessons for reading and math. And the teacher is also able to provide lessons and instructions within the program that go along with the personalized lessons. So this is a great program to meet the students exactly where they are and assist them into building on those skills. So when you're taking the diagnostic, the students will see a reading diagnostic, and then they'll have a math diagnostic. The reading domains that they'll be assessed on are phonological awareness, phonics, high frequency words, vocabulary, comprehension, which includes the literature aspect of it, and then comprehension using informational text. Okay. And then with math, um, number and operations, algebra and algebraic thinking, and then measurement and data, and then also geometry. And again, this program is for K through 8th. Okay. This is what the student's dashboard will look like when they are logged in. They will have a to-do list, my progress bar, and my stuff. And this dashboard is really great, and it's helpful for you to see what your student is actually doing as well. Okay. I love that it has the reading lesson stats. It shows the time on task. It also shows the lessons passed the entire school year. And then it also helps to motivate the students, and it gives them the reading streak or mastery of the lessons that they've passed. So that's a motivation for students to continue to keep going, right? And then also it will show you the completed work as well. So you'll see the list of work that the students have completed, and then also the tasks that the teachers also assign. And what I love about iReady is they have a family center. So they want you to engage with the program, with the student. Again, let them complete the diagnostic independently, but you're able to see what the student is doing at all times, okay? There is also a family center within the iReady program. Again, when you click on this tab right here, it will take you to that family center, and they have an abundance of resources to assist you with helping your student at home. Okay. But we want to say that when using any of these programs, it's a partnership with you, the student, and the parent, right? So remember to communicate regularly with your teacher regarding the student's use in the program so that the student will be successful. And remember to be consistent with everything that you are doing when using the program. Okay. Are there any questions? And then also there's some family resources available. And again, all of this is in the Family Central. So when the student is on their dashboard, you'll be able to get to these documents and resources by the click of that button at the very top of the page of the student's dashboard.
Okay, we will see if we have some questions from Miss Lauren.
We have one. So now a couple, go ahead and drop those
Okay.
questions in the Q&A if you have those for Tracy. First one, Tracy, is what grades again can do iReady?
iReady is available for students K through 8th.
Perfect. And if you have your hand raised, I noticed, Becca, you've got your hand raised. If you could drop your question in the Q&A, we can get to that. Does your teacher pick out the supplemental curriculum, or how do we choose that?
Okay, so you could have a conversation with your teachers, but the decision is up to you. But I would have a deep conversation about the programs. Your teachers can tell you more about the programs, or if they need to reach out to me as a coach, I can assist them with that as well. But your teacher could direct you into which program is a best fit for your student.
Great. Great. And I think it's always great as a former teacher. I think it's always great when parents come to you with an idea of what they want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know your student the best. So again, the communication with your teacher, your student's teacher is going to be the best avenue to take. But again, I'm here to assist in making those decisions as well. So I'm here if you need me.
Tracy, thank you. If you could stay on, if you could go backstage and stay back there and answer those questions and answers as they continue to come in. But let me ask you one more thing. Was there a charge for this one?
This one is, again, $20 in the
Okay.
Learning Fund.
Okay, so the other one was 70 and this one is 20.
And this one is 20.
Okay, we appreciate that information. So thank you so much and have a great day.
You all as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we are running just a few minutes ahead, which is a great thing to do. But I would like to know, will you please find that question and answer at the bottom of your screen at this webinar? And I would like you to type in if there's a supplement you've used in the past that your child really enjoyed. Could you drop that in the chat at the, or I'm sorry, not the chat, the question and answer, the Q&A at the bottom, and just let us know who's here and what have you used so far. Okay, so Miss Jordan is going to tell us about Lexia, and that may be a supplement you haven't heard about or a program. And so we're going to get some knowledge about that. As she's preparing, I'm going to just encourage her to make sure that your screen is shared all the way large in presentation mode so that everyone can see what you're sharing. And then we have, I'm not sure if you know or not, but we have a school magazine that is virtual, and it is called The Orbit. And our Orbit has turned 1 year old, and it has tons of information in there. I have never been at a school district that has had such a beautiful magazine, that catalog that allows you to know what's the latest and greatest at Epic and what's happening. So if you have seen the Orbit, then I would like you to type Orbit in the question and answer. Or if not yet, then type not yet, because we want to make sure you know about things that we have here. So Jordan, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm going to share this and we'll get going. I'm going to share with you about Lexia today. Okay. So Lexia, really, I'm going to be talking about two different programs, but they're through the same company. So first I'll share about things that kind of describe both of them, and then I'll dive into some of the differences. But we're going to be talking about Core 5 and Power Up. So Lexia Core 5 is a reading program for students in grades pre-K through 5th. It's a research-proven program that accelerates the development of literacy skills for all students of all abilities, helping them make the critical shift from learning to read to reading to learn. So it really helps our students make those literacy gains and can speed up the process where they can gain more than a year's worth of skills in a single school year. Lexia Power Up literacy is very similar, but it is for our upper grade students. So grades 6 through 12 can participate in Lexia Power Up. And so it accelerates those literacy gains and can enable students to make multiple years of literacy growth in a single academic year. So we see that in both of those programs. They're just for our different grade levels. Now, I do want to mention on Power Up, it's grades 6 through 12, but it does also have content. If you have, a 7th grade student that is reading maybe on a 4th grade level, Lexia Power Up still has the content that your students need to know that dips down into those earlier grades. So even your students placed in it based on what grade they are in, and then within the program, it will place them in the skill area they need. The thing that I like about that is it's going to have, for our older students that are in grades 6 through 12, they're going to be working on skills that they may need, even if they are from those earlier grades, but it's going to be delivered in a way that meets them where they're at and not, it doesn't seem too young for them. So I like that we have that available for our students. So about the program, this is also a supplemental curriculum. I don't think I mentioned that, but it's adaptive and personalized literacy. So it meets your student exactly where they are. So the first time the student logs in to either Lexia program, they're going to complete an auto placement activity. And it can be completed at once, or it can be broken up and chunked up over time. But what this does is just gives the program and the teacher an idea of where the student's skills are. And so then it designs their learning path from there. The From there, the individual goals. So Lexia will set goals for your student based on their placement on that auto placement activity. So they'll be given goal targets for a total number of minutes that they should meet each week. And then in Core 5, it also gives them a target goal of how many units they need to work through, so that we know that as they are spending time in Lexia, they're still progressing too. We're not just tracking the time minutes. It can also track their goals on what they're achieving. And then from there, once they have their goals set, then comes the adaptive instruction piece. And this is it's fun, learning based. It's a little bit game style, but students progress at their own pace through their personalized learning path and the adaptive instructional activities. And so the adaptive piece is there are 3 different levels of instruction that your student can receive. There's the standard instruction, which is the independent on-level task. The student must show 90% accuracy in that step to move on. But if our student seems to be struggling and isn't reaching that 90% goal, then it moves them to a guided practice step where there are modifications, scaffolding, things to like removing choices, simplifying the visuals, or adjusting the complexity to help the student achieve that unit. And then from there, if our student's still having trouble, there's a 3rd tier, and that's the direct instruction step, which explicitly teaches the skill and then further scaffolds the tasks for our students. And when the students successfully complete that direct instruction step, they move back to that standard step so we can see, are they learning this? Are they ready to move forward if they've mastered that skill? If the student still seems to have trouble after that direct instruction step, the Lexia will flag a notice to the instructor so that the teacher knows, hey, this is a time where maybe the teacher needs to step in and meet with the student about where they are in Lexia and teach that skill, so that they have that. We've got the best of both worlds. We have AI that is helping to, put in instruction when needed, but also that real person teacher who knows that they can step in and meet with your student and help provide that instruction. And Lexia provides lessons for that as well. So a couple of the considerations here. It is a web-based program. Now, if you are utilizing an iPad, there is an app that makes it work a lot smoother on the iPads. But for login, students will log in through Clever. This is also available for purchase in the Learning Fund. It is $36. For time goals, students are given personalized weekly time goals based on their data. So it bases it on that auto placement activity. And then throughout the year, it updates monthly based on how the student's progressing. Are they moving quickly towards reaching their goals? Then maybe they aren't needing as much time in Lexia, or vice versa. So that time recommendation is really individualized for your student based on their grade level and their progress. For compatibility, it works on Chromebooks, laptops, MacBooks, PCs, and iPads. So your student shouldn't have any trouble accessing that. So now let's jump into a quick look at the student overview. And here's where I'm going to differentiate between Lexia Core 5 for those pre-K through 5th students, and then Lexia Power Up for our 6th through 12th students. So Core 5, when the student logs in, the first thing when they log in is the auto placement activity. But once they've done that, they'll log in and see their student dashboard. And so the student dashboard shows the student their weekly usage and progress, so that the student and parents can monitor their usage and progress both when they log in, and it takes them back here when they log out. So the student will be able to see what is their goal minutes for the week. Okay, how many total minutes have they completed? How many minutes do they need? You can see here 20 minutes to go to reach their goal, so the student can be aware. It also shows their total units completed for the week, how many minutes whenever they exit. This is the log out screen, and it'll show how many minutes they added. So this student worked for 10 more minutes, so we're closer to that goal of 40, and how many units they've added. So they had 4 and completed 2 units. And so now they're up to 6. So that's kind of what that looks like. And then the student can either return to the activities or they can log out from that screen, depending on if they're wanting to, reach that goal, they can keep going. So within an activity, when students get ready to get started in an activity, in Core 5, there are, it'll show the available activities and the student can pick which one they want to work on first. So the different topics that you can see are phonological awareness, structural analysis, vocabulary, phonics, fluency, and comprehension. So those are the different areas that these skills fall into that Lexia Core 5 will be working on. And so our students, we'd want them progressing in all of those, but they can kind of choose which one they feel like doing that day or that session. So that's another nice feature too, where it gives the students some choice. And this is just an example of an activity, but when they are in an activity, this is a drag and drop where students are sorting vocabulary words. It'll have a little green progress bar at the bottom, so it'll show kind of how far along they're getting. So give them an idea of how much further they have left to go to finish that activity. Now for Power Up, the layout is a little bit different. And again, Power Up is for our 6th through 12th grade students. In Power Up, there's going to be an auto placement activity in each strand. So Power Up has 3 strands that different activities are in, and that can be for comprehension, word study, and grammar. And so because there's a auto placement in each activity, we may have students who have excellent comprehension skills, but maybe need a little more work in the word study area. And so those auto placements can have them in different grade levels for those different strands, which is nice. So our Power Up auto placement, the comprehension, like I mentioned, comprehension is what they're going to start with. And so it'll give them a little passage and reading to answer the question. For word study would be next. That's going to be the second auto placement that they take. And then grammar is last. Okay. And once they've done the auto placement, oops, sorry about that. And then once they log in the next time, they'll see their student dashboard. And so on the student dashboard in Power Up, we see it looks a little bit different, but we're looking here at our older students. So it's more aligned to where they are at. And so this at each card, we have the different strands, word study, grammar, and comprehension. It will tell them their weekly goal in that strand. It will tell them how many units they've completed, how many minutes they've completed, and you can see the progress bar to show how close they're getting to the goal. Okay, so in the grammar example here, the goal would be 25 for this student. They've gained 2 units this week, and then their minutes, they've completed 8, so they just have that far left to go. And you can see it's different. The goals are different for each strand. So this particular example has a 35-minute goal in word study, a 25-minute weekly goal in grammar, and 45-minute weekly goal in comprehension. And again, just like in Core 5, those goals are set based on the auto placement and then are updated monthly based on how your student's progressing. So it's not all just determined by those 3 placement activities. And the student can adjust that too. And students can also go in and look at their progress and how they're doing on skills as well. So the last thing that I wanted to share, and I will share this slide deck with you so that you have this information, but there are a few demo videos if you want to check out and see what it looks like inside an activity. I've linked that here, so I will share the slide deck with you in the chat in just a moment.
Jordan, you did such a great job. I didn't know all this stuff about it. So thank you for sharing that. I was taking notes for my own daughter and screenshotting. So that was a lot of information. I'm so glad we have you as a resource. Miss Lauren has some questions for you.
Perfect.
I do. And as a reminder, attendees, if you could drop your questions in the Q&A box, you'll find that at the bottom of your screen. It's a little box with a question mark in it. That just helps us not miss them. If we drop them in the chat, sometimes we get them and sometimes we don't. So first question, Jordan, is Lexia required or suggested?
It is not required this year at all. It is, definitely recommended if our students are needing to make some gains in the literacy areas, but it's just a supplemental, so it's an option out there for our students.
Great, great. Um, can my student utilize Lexia all year, like in the summer?
I don't believe we have access in the summer, but I will have to double check on that.
Okay, that's a really good question.
Yes, that
Mm.
is.
Is there a parent dashboard to access the lessons that the child needs to work on in Lexia Core 5, or are the teachers the ones who get that?
The teacher dashboard, the teachers have a dashboard where they can look at that, and then the parent just has the view from the student dashboard as well. So you are welcome at any time to log in and look at where your student is and kind of their goals for the week as well.
Perfect. Perfect. Great. So a reminder that Q&A box is available to all attendees. You do not need to be a panelist for that. It's at the bottom of your screen. It has a little question mark in it. So drop your questions there. And as those come in, Jordan, I want to say Lexia was one of my all-time favorite supplementals. As a teacher for my SPED kids, for my ELL kids, for so many reasons, Lexia has just proved an excellent resource for us for years and years.
Yes, it is a excellent program.
Okay, you don't know what you don't know, and so I'm glad that we're all here learning together and getting new information. We're going to have Jordan go backstage, and she is going to be available to ask and answer more of your questions. But if you want to contact her directly, you're going to put jordan.cox at that epiccharterschools.org email address and send that directly to her if you don't want to ask it in the question and answer box. But your question may benefit someone else, so be brave and ask. But we want your questions answered so that you can make the choice that is right for your family. Jordan, thank you for joining us today. We're running just a few minutes ahead, which is always great as well. As a teacher, as a parent, I just want to go back to a couple of the supplements that we've talked about. And then this year, your student is probably going to take a test called a STAR test a couple times a year in reading and math. And that is going to give us a placement of where they are in their academic journey. When we talk about adaptive test, so as a student, you may have sat in a classroom and just had to try to get every answer correct on that piece of paper because that's what you were expected to know. An adaptive test gives us a screenshot of where your student is, where the gaps are, where we can fill that in. So it is very important. As a teacher, I would always tell my parents at the very beginning of the year, hey, let's have a conversation with your student and set them up for success and let them know before you get on this test, I want you to do the absolute best you can do because this is just an assessment to tell your teacher how to direct you and the correct skills for you. However, when you start getting butterflies in your tummy or you start getting anxious, I need you to remember that this is not a test you can make a 100 on. Even your parent, grandma, aunt, uncle, mom, dad, whoever it is that's talking to the student, even if I took this test, I could not make a 100. So when you see those questions that are making you have anxiety or butterflies because you just don't know, it is really okay. Having that conversation before that adaptive test really sets that student up for success. And I wish I could tell every single parent that. A lot of parents, they don't have that information. And so they ask the kid, how'd you do? And the kid's like, I didn't know. But it's kind of like the Goldilocks method. It's not too hot, not too cold. It's just right where they need to be. And so that's what we want. We want parents to allow students to do those tests on their own, but have that conversation before that test so that your student can feel confident that, hey, I'm doing what I can do, and this is to show my teacher where to help me. So our next presenter is Miss Megan Gregory, and she's going to tell us all about Imagine Math. And so I'm going to welcome Miss Megan to come in and share her screen.
Hey Shannon, I'm trying to turn my video on, but it says disabled. If you could let that on real quick.
Okay, I'm going to see if I can do anything with that. Maybe one of my behind the scenes people can do that.
Here we go.
Oh,
Awesome.
hey,
We're all
there you
set.
are. Great. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to mute myself and let you take over.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me today. First, I am going to talk about Imagine Math. So I'm going to share my screen and get everything ready to go for you all. So excited. So Imagine Math is one of our supplement options to support your math learning, regardless of what grade level you are in. So I'll get into the details of that in just a moment, but Imagine Math is available to support all of our students. We love this program, and I'm very excited to talk about it with you today. Now, to give you a breakdown of all the things I'm going to talk about for Imagine Math, we're going to have a quick curriculum overview, go over considerations, and of course, celebrations. Now, Imagine Math will personalize math learning. This program engages students in a meaningful exploration of mathematical understanding, all while having live certified math teachers ready to help when needed. Imagine Math is an adaptive program that starts with a diagnostic when students log in for the first time, similar to other supplemental programs. And this piece is very unique in that it creates an individualized pathway for the student. What that means is from the diagnostic, it will take the standards that are below grade level or where the student is performing at and create lessons or put lessons that are created by Imagine Math onto a pathway for the school year. So as students work, it will continuously adapt as they reach grade level material, but it allows them to work below grade level as long as necessary so that we can bridge that gap. Another fun fact about Imagine Math is that if it notices a student is struggling with a lesson more than once, it will reroute to a different topic so that the student earns a brain break in a way so that they can get a break from that topic, alleviate any frustration, take a deep breath, and experience a different math topic. Also, with Imagine Math, so I mentioned the adaptive piece that starts out based on the diagnostic the student can take. The teacher can also create a very personalized pathway in addition, so that when the student logs in, they can have both the adaptive pathway that Imagine Math has set, and then they can have a pathway titled, Miss Moore's class, and they can have that pathway to hit certain topics, certain standards, if need be, if highlighted by a star benchmark, or maybe based on some IEP documents that they have certain goals in place. This is really a great program to support those math skills. Now, going into considerations for Imagine Math, it does support all grade levels of math from pre-K through geometry. So if we have littles that are starting out in math, it does have a pre-K through 2 platform that is very supportive of our little minds and guides them into pre-K through 2nd grade material. Then we have a 3+ platform that is for all grade levels above 3rd grade. Now, I will say, even if your student is in 3rd grade and they are performing below grade level, they will still get access to the maturity level platform that they need based on their age and the grade level that they're in, but it will adapt below grade level. So if you have a 3rd grader performing at 2nd or 1st grade, it will adapt down continuously as they work through the program. So have no fear. It will just make sure and give them the platform that is appropriate to make sure they feel supported and confident while they're working. Now, our EPIC recommendation for Imagine Math is to complete 2 to 3 math lessons per week, but this can be personalized to best fit student needs. Let's say you really want to utilize it more because you're seeing growth. You can complete as many lessons as the student wants to, as long as they are using the program with fidelity. So we recommend that your students take their time, spend the amount of time that is needed for them to be successful, but also comfortable with the program. It's not about rushing. It's not about getting the right answers. This program is not for a grade per se. The teachers can use lessons and performance levels to add to the grade book, but really the goal of using this program is to support bridging the gap. Now, this is available, like I said, for all grade levels. It just depends on your grade, what the cost might be. For pre-K through 2 and 9 through 12, in the Learning Fund, it is $35 this year. Now, for our high school kids, you might say, well, they have to take certain classes for their transcript. Yes, that is correct. However, they can still use a math supplement to support their math learning in addition to the core course that they need to take. Now for grades 3 through 8 this year, it is free and automatically loaded for all of those students. So in your Students Clever, once school starts in grades 3 through 8, you should see an Imagine Math icon. We very much so recommend that you play around with that, even if your teacher hasn't said anything about it yet. Ask them questions, ask your educator, what does this do? How can this help? Because we see great results from students that use it regularly, even bumping one step at a time on a concept that maybe they had no grasp of yet at the start of the year, and we see growth to meet it towards the end of the school year. Now going into celebrations, which I've kind of touched on a little bit up to this point for Imagine Math, it is an adaptive supplement that helps build your students' confidence with grade level content. So it knows where your student needs to be, and based on the diagnostic or through the lessons the student is working through, it will try and get them up to grade level. It knows the goal, but if you see your student continue to struggle, it will adapt to lower grade level material, again, to reach for the stars on where they need to go. It has a very motivating digital experience as well that helps foster that curiosity and engagement, which virtually can be quite the challenge. There are avatars embedded, so as your student is working, they earn think points based on their lesson completion or how much time they're spending in the program. And those think points can be utilized to customize the avatar or even pick a charity to donate to virtually, allowing them to feel in control of their learning and participating in a community of math students. Again, it does reroute students after frustration is determined. If they are struggling with a lesson more than once, I believe it's after 2 times of struggling with the lesson that it will reroute to a different concept. It might not be on the same grade level. It might bump below grade level to a different concept or bump up on grade level to a concept that they have shown that they are comfortable with based on the diagnostic. And one of my favorite celebrations I will absolutely talk about all day long is they have access to a live certified math teacher within the lessons. So here in a moment, I'll show you a little more about what that looks like. So here is a lesson in action, student experience here for what a 3+ student would see on their screen. On the upper left-hand side, you'll see the first picture, which shows help buttons populated. And then at the very top, you'll see the breakdown of the lesson. So all Imagine Math lessons have a pre-quiz, a warm-up, a guided learning, practice, post-quiz, and a finish area. Again, you will see different parts of these for each standard lesson that your student is working on. And they will be able to navigate to different parts of the lesson if they need to go back to the warm-up, back to the pre-quiz, and really personalize their learning if they want to dig deeper into the concept. For the guided learning aspect, this is where they will have access to the help buttons within Imagine Math. And for Imagine Math, they have not 1, not 2, but 3 help buttons within the guided learning portion of the lesson. The first 2 help buttons are different examples of a similar problem that walk them through the concept to help support them with the question they are being posed. And then the third help button connects them to a live certified math teacher that will walk them through via chat how to go about this particular problem. Now, your student's teacher can see when they use these help buttons. So if they notice that they're using the live math teacher often, it will alert them to say, hey, maybe we should meet about this in person, go about reteaching virtually in another format. So your teacher can see all of the activity from their teacher dashboard, what lessons they're working on, what the pathway has planned. That way, you guys get the whole picture on what the student is doing in Imagine Math. There are also other tools embedded, such as a calculator, of course, a formula sheet that is helpful, a glossary. So if your students struggle with vocabulary, they do have that help button in there as well to help them understand different words in the questions and in the lesson. There's also the microphone button you'll see on each part of the lesson where the student can click on that megaphone and have it read to them. And of course, we offer translation support for Spanish. If your student is needing another language for support, let us know and we will see what we can do to best support you. Now, again, with the Imagine Math teacher embedded, it's not an EPIC teacher, it is an Imagine Math teacher, and they are certified in math, and they are very knowledgeable of these lessons and these concepts that are being presented to your kiddos. So if you have any questions about that while your students are working, please contact your teacher and we'll do what we can to help you. Now, moving on to family resources, because that's why you're here, very important family members. We have a family support resource that is for the pre-K through 2 platform if you have a little one that is going to get started with this supplement. And then we also have a family support guide for your students who are going to be in grades 3 and higher. So if you have any questions, again, we have wonderful resources from Imagine Math and from EPIC that can help support you getting started with this resource. And of course, throughout the school year, if you have any questions or concerns at all, please reach out to us. And on my final slide for Imagine Math, I did embed a link to a tour of Imagine Math, where you will have the option to select the platform that your student might be interested in, the pre-K through 2 overview and the grade 3+ overview, embedded in this slide here that will be shared with you. So if you have a deeper question or a curiosity that you'd like addressed before your question in an email might be responded to, please dig into this tour. It will allow you to experience it as a student, answer questions, play with the help buttons, and really get you comfortable and confident utilizing this supplement. So that is what I have for Imagine Math, Shannon. I'm very excited, and I know I have another curriculum to talk about in just a moment.
Yes. Oh, Megan, that was great. Fantastic. My daughter is actually in Math Plus, but the fact that I see that this is a free supplement for her because she's in that grade range, I'm going to have her log in there and try that out because we can never have enough reading and math instruction in our life, and learning and having that certified teacher inside that program to help with it, that's an added benefit. So yay, I love knowing about this. If you guys have specific questions, ask them in that Q&A box at the bottom. Megan, after her next presentation, will go backstage and she'll pick up both of those questions that need to be answered that haven't been. But if you want to email her directly, if you will take her name and put a period in between her first and last name and add at epiccharterschools.org, that will get to her. Miss Lauren is going to read those questions to us. Okay, Lauren.
Thank you, Shannon. It looks like we don't have any in the Q&A box currently regarding Imagine Math, but if you have one, go ahead and drop that in there now. Megan, I think it would be really great if you would drop that link to the guided tour into our chat box, because I think that would be really a really excellent resource.
Yes, I will do that right now. And again, it will allow the family member to choose which platform they want to take a tour of. And there are also several resources embedded on this website. So if they want to play around with different getting started guides, PDFs, it has lots of great things available in there. So I will put that in the chat box now.
Okay.
Great,
So,
thank you.
if any new ones, if you're, halfway through the next presentation and you have a question about this, then go ahead and ask that because she's going to jump on afterwards and answer that. I'm going to give her a second to catch her breath after that presentation and get ready for the next one. And I'm just going to remind everyone that this is recorded. So if you were not able to jump on yesterday or on Monday and you would like to know what happened on those days, there's lots of information that you can go back as soon as this video and the ones from the previous days are edited. Those will be shared to social media and on our website, and you can log back in. You can scroll through this presentation to the part that specifically speaks to you and your family. So know that if you are new today and missed the last 2 days, there's so much information and meat and potatoes in those presentations. So if you're here today and you're like, oh, are they going to talk about customer service? If I have a question, who do I ask? You can email customer service at epiccharterschools.org. They were on the presentation at the very end yesterday and gave lots of information. They are here to answer any questions. So if for some reason you lose Megan's email and you're like, I'm looking for that math supplement, I forgot what it was called, reach out to customer service. They are live people sitting there ready to ask your questions. We also had yesterday, Serena was on talking about seniors. So if you have a senior student and you want to know all things about prom and graduation, that was in our presentation yesterday. You'll be able to go back and watch that. We talked about our Common Academy and the difference between Common and One-on-One and Pathways and Rise, being the platform of what your student, how they're being instructed. Lots of information, but all recorded that you can go back and watch. So Megan, you have another supplement that we're going to talk about. So are you ready to go?
Yes. Relax
Okay.
your shoulders and ready to charge.
Let's go. I'm so excited.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen again, and this time I'm presenting over IXL. Many of you might be familiar with this supplement already. It's very popular. We have utilized it over several school years, and if your student has come from another school district to join EPIC, you may be familiar with this as well. This supplement, again, similar to Imagine Math, is available to all of our students in various ways, either in the Learning Fund or provided, and I will dig into that in just a moment. A curriculum overview for IXL, because it is a different curriculum compared to other supplements, because various subject areas are embedded in this program. It's comprehensive and has pre-K through 12 curriculum with targeted skills. What that means is your student will have access to all grade level skills, and their teachers can assign lower grade level if they need and higher grade level if they're moving beyond where they need to be. And it also has not just math, but language arts this year. The teachers can personalize skill plans that match state standards and more. So with the STAR benchmarks that we'll be utilizing, they can input those scores and it will personalize a skill plan where the students from their dashboard can click on skills recommended from their teacher. There is a diagnostic available where students can step into the arena, answer some questions, and it will personalize recommended skills based on that performance. And again, we can customize it for any standard. So if we know we need to really hit certain standards to support gaps, we can assign various skills that are within a certain group. It is adaptive. So as your students work through the questions, the program will identify if they need a deeper learning on that standard and can move into the higher DOK versions of those questions, or if they need a lower grade level skill, it will then recommend the appropriate skill for that math concept or language arts concept. It is flexible, so students on their dashboard will have the opportunity to choose the skills that they would like to work on or the skills that the teacher has recommended. And they can step into the arena anytime throughout the school year to update their diagnostic information. So if they think that the skills being recommended aren't quite what on par, maybe you should say, of what they would like to focus on, step into that arena again. It will update those skills that it recommends. That way it stays personalized and customized living throughout the school year. It's also very accessible. So we have different languages available for translation. There are the speech to text or text to speech features. There are help buttons and different things embedded as well to show examples for different concepts. And I'll get into those in just a moment. Now, thinking of the format of IXL, similar to our other supplement curriculums, it is web-based, it can be app-based. Your students will work from their Chromebooks or their iPads on this supplement. It's here to help your students grow, and it's immersive. It has lots of insights, very targeted for that concept approach of we know where your student is struggling or where they'd like to work on. We can assign skills and really have students focus on that growth. Again, this year, they'll have access to math and language arts. And of course, that real-time diagnostic is really important if you want to personalize further an action plan. I would like to highlight that this is not just pre-K through 8 that have skills they want to build. It also can be utilized for our high school students for ACT planning. There are skill plans available that are aligned to similar questions for ACT, both math and language arts. So it's a great tool if you'd like to utilize the supplement to support any grade level, depending on the goals that you have for your kiddos. Here are some important considerations if you are wanting IXL for your student. It is available for pre-K through 12 through Clever. And in the Learning Fund, the cost for pre-K through second grade and grades 9 through 12 is $25. And then grades 3 through 8, it is free and automatically loaded. Now, again, the EPIC recommendation is we want our students to reach a SMART score of 80 and at least 2 skills per subject per week. What this means is it's not a grade of 80, it's an overall picture of an analytical view of what your student is doing on that standard. So your student needs to answer at least 10 questions for a skill for them to populate a SMART score and get that picture of how your student is performing. And the student can continuously bump up or bump down their SMART score based on how they're answering their questions. And again, the more questions they answer, the better picture we get of how they're performing on a skill, because it adapts every question based on their answer to really get that view of your student. Are they knowing all parts of this standard? Really maybe just, maybe they are really good with the circumference of a circle, but maybe not the area of something else. And so giving us the SMART score gives us that overview of what your student is doing for a concept. And there are thousands of skills in IXL. So it really breaks it down piece by piece for a standard. One skill is not one standard. You might have 10 skills for a standard. That way, we really break it down into biteable chunks for your students to work through skills and master them one piece at a time. Now, here are some celebrations. IXL is a really family-friendly program based on their resources available for free on their website, ixl.com. There's a blog you can follow that shares different updates and fun facts. There are tons of videos to show you quick tips and tricks. They're 1 minute to 3 minutes long, showing you how to navigate the student side, what parents and families should be doing to support your student at home. It is very family oriented, and that we want our students to be successful, and they provide various formats and resources to support us and celebrate. So I'd love to dig a little further into the celebrations. We, as the teachers and admin, will have access to detailed progress reports that will show us the questions your students had, what the answer choices were, what they selected, to give us the opportunity to dig deep. Do we need to reteach the concept? Maybe they misunderstood the vocabulary. Maybe they need another opportunity to practice. It gives us every piece of what your student is doing so that we can personalize our plan and our recommendations. There is a free version available to everyone. So when you go to IXL and you don't log in, you can get 10 free questions per day. So if you want to go play around with that today, and even for students maybe not with EPIC, or your little ones that are not old enough for school yet, have them answer 10 free questions per day to get familiar with the platform, to engage with learning, to have fun with math and language arts. Play around with this platform because it's lots of fun. And again, with those 10 free questions a day, it allows you as the family member to see what your student will do, to see the questions they will be asked, and to see the format in which they are asked these questions. Another celebration I want to highlight today is that IXL has been working diligently on adding video lessons for most of the skills. So when your student is working actively on a skill, they will see at the top, learn with an example, where they can click, and similarly to Imagine Math, can see a similar problem worked out step by step so that they can get support in the math concept or language arts concept they have in front of them. Or they can click and watch a quick video that goes into the meat of the concept to better support them in the moment without having to wait for a chat to respond, or maybe waiting for a meeting with your teacher. Having those resources at your fingertips is vital to their learning. Another celebration I want to mention is that it's very much so multi-sensory for our students that are in various performance levels. So there are lots of opportunities in here for tactile interactions, and the platform is very inclusive, again, with those text-to-speech resources, translation features, and lots of things built in to support the various modes of learning, whether they need videos or things written out. We try to meet with iExcel all of our students and be as supportive as possible. Now going into this quick view of your student experience, when your student logs in, the dashboard here at the top picture, you will see a column that is from your teacher. These are skills that your teacher has specifically assigned for your student. Most of you will have a PLP, a personalized learning plan with your teacher, maybe housed in Google Sheets or a Google Doc. Somewhere your teacher has a step-by-step plan for your student. They might say, work on this iExcel that's titled value of a digit up to 10,000s. And I want you to work on that this week. And the goal is to get that SMART score of 80 or 70, whatever goal your teacher has set. And that is on your to-do list this week. Notice you'll have access to the other skills that are assigned, so make sure and communicate with your teacher that you're working on the appropriate skills. You can also go back and look at recent skills that your student has worked on when you're logged into the dashboard. And of course, the recommendations column that is based on the diagnostic. Your student will have access to that diagnostic at all times on the right-hand side when you click on that green button that says Get Started Now. That will take you into the iExcel arena whenever you want to update and add to the diagnostic information that iExcel has for your kiddo. Now, the bottom two pictures are previews of what your students will see in the skill plan and with the examples they can click on to learn. So on the bottom left-hand side, you'll see a question posed that has graphics to support. You can also see the megaphone the student could click on to have the question read to them. And you'll see the boxes where they can either enter the answers or the multiple choice where they can select. And some of them will even be drag and drop where they can explain their answers and understanding in various ways. And on the right-hand side on the skill, it will show them how many questions they've answered, what their SMART score is, and give them a bigger picture of what they're doing to support them. Then on the right-hand side, we have another picture that shows an example of what an example would look like for your student. It has similar pictures, a similar math concept, goes over the important vocabulary, the key idea, the key words, and then goes further into an explanation of how to work through that math concept or language arts concept. I would like to mention another fun fact about iExcel this year is there is a vocabulary feature embedded now where your teachers can utilize vocabulary resources in the program to support either math or language arts to, of course, help them bridge any gaps and further their understanding of the concepts. Now, compatibility for iExcel, very similar to our other curriculums, works on your Chromebooks, works on your iPads, as long as things are up to date and charged. You will log in through Clever for all of your wonderful things. The iExcel tab will be available. It's green. Again, it's free for grades 3 through 8, so it will be auto-loaded for those students and be ready to go within the first few weeks of school starting. And if you would like to add it through the Learning Fund for your student, pre-K through 2 or 9 through 12, it is available for $25. And here are some family resources for you all getting started. So what I love about iExcel is, again, they have lots of resources to support our families at home. Since with Epic, you're not going to a brick and mortar school every day, you guys have a lot of weight on your shoulders to make sure that your students are working and having those tools to be successful. So we want to provide you with the tools to help you be successful, right? So each day we want you to go through the iExcel skills listed and make sure your students are working, answer any questions they have, ask us any questions you have. And please know that it's not about a grade level experience or grade goal experience. So your student isn't going to get a 100 on the questions because they've answered everything right. It's just about getting that SMART score of 80 or higher to know that they've mastered that concept. And if you would like to continue learning about this program, there is a family learning hub. And I love, love, love that they provide more PDFs, more videos, links for you to experience the platform. That way, if your child gets stuck while working, there are step-by-step explanations provided to support you in supporting them. Now, getting started, again, looking back at what is all available to your students, I want to mention again that your students will have access to all of these skills, and your students will be able to work below grade level if need be and above grade level if need be. So work out with your teacher what is most appropriate, and they can assign skills based on their performance levels, and then the program will continuously adapt as they're working to recommend skills to help them grow. And that is all I have for you guys today on iExcel. I'd love to hear your questions and support you from here.
Megan, that was great. Thank you for sharing all of that information. I felt like you were such a great presenter. I'm looking at the view behind you, and I felt like I was enjoying an Italian gelato in that chair with that pink pillow, that cushion in an Italian villa little courtyard. And it was just so, it was sweet listening to all that information because that's a lot of information, but it made me want to invest and investigate for my students. So, Miss Lauren, do we have any questions in the Q&A for Miss Megan? Okay, here she comes. Whoops,
Oh,
she's coming back.
I'm
Those-
trying. I'm trying.
She was still in Italy enjoying the gelato.
I
Yes.
mean, I'm really not. I wish I was. Megan, you did such a great job about regarding iExcel. I know that that is something that pretty much every EPIC student uses. So thank you for that. We don't have any questions about iExcel right now in the chat or in the Q&A box. If you do have one, go ahead and drop that now. Megan, we did have a question about Coach Digital. Are you over at Coach Digital as well?
I am newly over Catch Digital, so I will happily address a question, but I might have to dig into it to double check.
Okay, perfect. I tell you what, let's do. If you have a question regarding Coach Digital, go ahead and email Megan. So megan.gregory@epiccharterschools.org. And if we want to purchase through the Learning Fund, do you just type iExcel in the search box?
I believe so. That might be a great question for the teacher. I do know that if you have any issues at all working with your teacher or your MDI with the Learning Fund, it should be available for pre-K through 2 and 9 through 12, again for the $25. And then if your student is in grades 3 through 8, have no fear, it will be loaded for your student without you having to do anything. So once school starts and you guys get rolling, it will be there for you guys to work in.
Perfect, perfect. So just to clarify, I know that iExcel used to be free. Is there currently a cost?
Yes. So in the previous school years, it was enterprise-wide pre-K through 12. And now this school year, it's free for 3 through 8. And the cost, $25 for the whole school year, that's not a problem. If you think about how many skills your student will have access to for both math and language arts, and
Yeah.
thinking of working below grade level, or even for your high school kids having that algebra support or ACT support, it really can mold to support any student, any goal.
Absolutely. My own kids did a lot in iExcel
Yeah.
as well. Even last year, both my kids really utilized that program. It's just great practice. It's kind of like, and after you learn it, it's such great practice.
It is a great time for them to apply what they're learning and get a chance to really experience the concept in different ways.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's all the questions we have at this time.
Awesome.
Okay. Miss Megan, we're going to have you head backstage and hang out and answer those questions that appear. Our next presenter, I had the luxury of working with this presenter. I met her close to the Salt Plains. And she was the librarian and the know everything about everything technology. So if I had a library question or a technology question, I went to her, and I am so thankful that we both are here at Epic together and that she is a resource for you guys. So we're going to have her tell you all about Sora. This is Miss Lindsay. Welcome, Miss Lindsay. If you guys have not been been to the Salt Plains up by Cherokee, Oklahoma. That is a field trip that the family engagement team has done a couple times. But just if you're looking for something to do and school's about to start back and you're like, hey, let's just go do one more thing right before school starts, those Salt Plains are pretty cool. All right, Miss Lindsay, let's hear it.
Well, first off, about the Salt Plains, such a fun field trip. Be sure to bring sunscreen, sunglasses, because the glare from the Salt Plains definitely can impact, how much sun exposure you're getting, and you want to bring water too, but it is so much fun. Um, and Shannon, I was just thinking about when you worked with Renaissance and you would come and visit me at the library in Cherokee. It was a really good chance to build that program up and, you know, Shannon knows her stuff too. She says, I knew everything. No, no, no. She was the one that I always would rely on for information. So, with that being
Thank you.
said, I just want to say good morning to everyone. I hope where you are, it is a sunshiny, happy day because it is like that for me. Um, I'm here to talk about the Sora Digital Library. And, I'm a lifelong library enjoyer, and I hope that Sora can be a positive experience for everyone who visits. We offer a lot of different resources and books, not only for people who are needing books for their schoolwork, like with Epic Ed, but also if you just need a book that you want to read for enjoyment, we have lots to offer. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that we can talk a little bit more about Sora. So first off, um, Sora is a free online library. It's very easy to access. If you go into Clever, the link for Sora is included, but then you can bookmark that link in your browser. You can also access it in a lot of other different ways, which we'll
Miss
talk about here.
Lindsay, can I
Yes,
have you do presentation mode so it takes up the entire screen for us?
sure. Let me
I know
let
that
me
looks a little
try.
different when you're presenting.
Let's try this. Oops.
Almost there.
Am I
Enter full screen, maybe there.
There we go. Okay,
Oh, perfect. Thank you
great.
so much.
Thank you. So, to go back to talking about Sora, Sora is a supplement for Epic that serves all grades. We have fiction and nonfiction ebooks as well as audiobooks. And of course, as I mentioned previously, you can access Sora through Clever, but that's just the website link. So if you bookmark it, you can still visit that anytime. You don't have to go through Clever every single time. You can visit Sora through your computer or a laptop, a tablet, or your phone. There are also no fines attached to checking out materials from Sora. If you have a book and have kind of forgotten that you had it checked out at the end of the time period, it will just return automatically. And another great thing about it is if you check that book out again, it will remember where you left off. So I think that's amazing. I don't know about you all who are readers, but I have a lot of bookmarks that I have saved over the years, and that's the one really awesome thing about digital reading. You never need a bookmark. It saves your place. Ebooks are also available for use with all of our core curriculum novel units. And for Epic Ed, for example, because we have so many students using Epic Ed and there are a lot of books with Epic Ed, we have a collection on our landing page that has all of the Epic Ed books included. So if you ever are needing to access a book for your core curriculum, you can just find it right there on the landing page. We also have a very careful selection process. First off, we are guided by the books that we need for our core curriculum. We also look at books based on teacher requests. So if you have a book that you would like to see added to the library, tell your teacher to request it with me, and we will look into it and see if we can add it. And we also curate our collection through the use of professional reviews. So we just want to make sure that the library is a very welcoming and positive experience for our students. So we make sure that we make very careful decisions when we're adding books to the library. And on that note, we have the ability to control what materials our school or our students access through the library. So for example, if you have a kindergarten student, they're not going to be able to read, for instance, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, because first off, that's a very complicated book for a kindergartner. And secondly, it's a pretty serious and scary book for a kindergartner. So our content access levels are set up to our specifications, and this is modeled after the basically the maturity level, not necessarily the reading level of the books. So we have early elementary for grades kindergarten through second. Elementary is grades 3 through 5. Middle school is grades 6 through 7. Lower high school is grades 8 through 10. And then upper high school is grades 11 through 12 and staff. And one thing to also keep in mind with content access levels, if for instance you are a sixth grader, but you actually have a reading level that is on the fourth grade level, you can access any of the material that is in a lower content access level. So obviously teachers, they can see everything that is in the entire Sora library, so they can help their students find books as well. One other thing, if you encounter or you think that there should be a book available, but you think maybe the content access level was incorrect, once again, just have your teacher reach out to me and I can, reassess that, see if maybe an error was made, or if perhaps, a book was given a content access level and it actually needs to be adjusted up or down. We can always make those adjustments manually. Next, I wanted to show you guys just how easy it is to navigate through Sora. First off, this is a screenshot of the landing page where you can explore all of our different collections. So included right here is one of the sort of for fun reading collections that we have called Sora Sweet Reads. These books are actually generated from Sora themselves, and they are available all summer long for free for students, which is amazing. I don't have to purchase anything to maintain that collection. So, that's always great when it's not costing budget dollars. You can also see that there are filters that you can control. So if you're looking for a specific reading level or Lexia level, you have that ability to control that. And you can also go into our collections or filter by ebooks or audiobooks. So you have a lot of different ways to see all the different books that we have available. Next, I wanted to show how you can search. So I started by just searching for robots because that's a really fun topic to learn about. And we, first off, have 32 ebooks in that subject area and 5 audiobooks. And you can see for all of these top titles, they are available to borrow right away. Now, you might also notice when you go into Sora, if it says hold instead, you want to make sure that if that's a book you want to check out, you click hold, and that will signal to me that we need to purchase another copy. Once again, you also have the ability to filter. So for those 32 ebooks and 5 audiobooks, if you clicked filter, it would give you the option to filter according to, reading level or Lexile level, or lots of other different filter options so that you can really narrow down and find exactly the book that you want to read. Now, you might also notice over here there's a plus sign. Now, I've had a few tickets in the past where students have clicked on that plus sign by accident, and it will say it wants a code. Well, let me just say, if you ever see a code being asked for on Sora, we don't utilize that function. That's actually designed for content bundles, and we don't utilize it. So you just click out of it and then you click search. But because they're both so close together, it can be easy to accidentally click the plus sign when you meant to hit the search button. Now, with that being said, let's look at a specific book. Now, when I saw the cover for this one, I was intrigued. I have a cat. His name is Big Steve, and I cannot imagine him being an astronaut. He does not like enclosed spaces, and I can imagine that this is a pretty funny book. So, just to look at this title, we have a few different options in terms of understanding what this book is about. In the middle, this is the most interesting part. This is where they describe what's happening in the book. And that can be a really good sign if it's a book that I want to read or if I think, that doesn't sound like it's for me. I can also see over here that the audience is juvenile. So if I clicked into a book and I saw that the audience maybe was for, an audience that doesn't really fit what I need, I would say, not for me necessarily. I can also see the reading level. So it's a 3.2, which means that it's a third grade reading level book. The interest level is for kids in grades 4 through 8. Now, that's not to say that someone younger might not enjoy it, but it might be a little more complex than what they're ready for. And obviously, older kids might find it fun too. I can also see the Lexile score for it, and I can see the text difficulty. Now, because this is a graphic novel, you'll notice that the text difficulty is going to be a little bit lower than what the reading level is. So just keep that in mind that graphic novels, they tend to be a little bit lower in terms of text difficulty because they're so visual. And I can also see that I've got 2 copies available. So if I'm ready and I want to go ahead and borrow that, I can click borrow. And if this book is not available, it'll say hold instead. But if I'm still on the fence and I'm still thinking about if I want to read this book, I can click read sample and it'll give me a chance to look into the book and decide if this is a good book for me. I think having the sample is a wonderful opportunity to test if it's readable for me or if it's something that I might be interested in, which is very similar to browsing for a book in a bookstore or a regular library. So it's nice that they offer that ability. Now, going ahead, that is the end of my presentation actually. So I previously had a video linked at the end that was more of like like a guide through Sora, but I noticed that they had disabled the video. Maybe they were updating it. So I went ahead and removed that slide. I'm going to go ahead and escape from my presentation view and stop share. Do we
Okay.
have any questions?
We do have some questions, but I want to tell you that I told you guys Lindsay is amazing, but this is my kitty cat, and I think this kitty cat would make a great astronaut. This is Biscuit. Biscuit's a little like, hey, where are we? So I may decide to check out that book and read that to Biscuit. So, Miss Bree, do we have any questions for Miss Lindsay?
We do. We've got some great questions, Lindsay. So thank you for all the information. And then first question is, where can we get Sora?
So Sora is located within Clever. And then once you click into it and sign in, you can also bookmark the website as well. And then it's always available on your bookmarks, or you can always just visit Clever as well.
Okay, great. And if we need more audiobooks, um, do we email directly about those books?
I would prefer that it go through teachers because that kind of can consolidate, like if I had individual parents emailing me, that might get a little much. But, for instance, if a teacher had 10 titles that they wanted to recommend, that would just be one ticket as opposed to 10 emails.
Great idea. Okay.
Mhm.
And do you have access to Sora during the summer?
All the time. Yep.
Okay,
365, 24/7.
great. How many books can you check out?
I think, oh, asking the real questions. I think what I set it to was like 5 or 6, but it's enough so that you can have books checked out for your core curriculum, and you can also have a few books checked out for reading for fun as well.
Okay, great. And I think I didn't do the second part of one of the questions. Do you have access to Sora if you aren't able to get into Clever in the summer? Do you know that one?
Absolutely. Yeah, because it's just the website link. So if that occurred, what you could do is ask your teacher, and then I could just email your teacher the link, and then they could access it that way. That's
Okay.
also for parents and teachers who are needing a specific book. If you're having trouble locating it, your teacher can just share the link straight to the book as well. So, for instance, if I needed The Great Gatsby for my English class, but I was just really having trouble finding it for whatever reason, my teacher could just email me that link, and I would be able to click and borrow it right from there.
We've got a few more questions here. One is, um, if students are having trouble getting books on Sora beyond the ones assigned in Epic Ed, what do they do there?
Just place a hold. And if it's available in Sora, but it's showing that it's like checked out, just place a hold. If the hold is too long, like let's say that someone, let's say like multiple people are trying to check that book out all at once, like for instance, Wild Robot, which came up in my results that I showed in my presentation. When that movie came out, we had a lot of people wanting that. So I bought some extra copies, and so when someone places a hold, that helps me to understand there's more demand for the book. So that's the best way.
So if they place a hold for the book, but it's the book hold looks like it's a little bit too long, does
Mhm.
the teacher email you?
No, I get notified through Sora itself and I can purchase copies. Usually they will regenerate within a couple of hours. So it's very, very fast.
Okay. And then one of the issues last year was maybe too many people having the book checked out at the same time. Is that what you're saying? You noticed that and then you would just try to
Yes.
order those?
Yeah.
Okay. And then another one is, let me look down on this one. The next one was for a SPED um, and a GT roster teacher, how can they get books that are adjusted to the reading level?
So you can do that by filtering the search results. You can do that on the landing page as well. You have the ability to search for specific reading levels. And then also to go along with the SPED accommodation for struggling readers, Sora works with a lot of screen readers as well. So even if there's not a read along option within the Sora book, or there's not an audiobook option, you can also utilize screen readers. So Read and Write for Google, which is an extension which is on all of our computers here at Epic, it works with Sora as well. So that's a wonderful functionality available for struggling readers.
That's wonderful. Okay, so we've got some more questions, but I'm thinking if you could stay on here in the backstage and answer
Mhm.
those, type those into the Q&A and chat for the parents and to answer, and that way we can let that part finish.
Thank
Alrighty,
you,
thank you so
Bree. Thank you
much.
for those. Lindsay, great job. See you backstage.